right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to install MCPs, Model Context Protocol, servers and clients for Cursor. So first of all, what are MCPs? For that, I would highly recommend watching these videos that do a great job. This one with Tech with Tim, he does a great job of explaining what MCPs are and shows a couple of examples. And then this video shows several more examples of MCPs in action with Cursor. And then this video by Jack Harrington shows MCPs in action, but with applications using MCPs. So the backend, the database, integrating with LLM, and he shows a really powerful e-commerce example of MCP being used to enhance an e-commerce AI chat agent in a very powerful way. So with that out of the way, after watching these 3 videos, which I'll put the links to in the description, you will know what MCPs are. And so we'll get to how the easiest way of installing MCPs, because even though these videos, they show you how to install MCPs, there's a lot of snags you keep running into. So the easiest way I found is to use this MCP installer, which is an MCP itself. And so the very first thing you do is install this MCP installer, right? And you just follow the instructions. Put this in the Cursor MCP configuration file, right? So you go to Cursor settings, MCP, add MCP server, and then in my case, I already have it here. And then you also install this. So once the MCP server is installed, then it makes installing the other MCPs much easier. So you can see I have 3 other MCPs installed already. This one's web search, just like the name suggests, it searches the web. And it just makes things a little bit cleaner than the way Cursor does it by default. Browser tools, it integrates with any Chromium-based browser via an extension, which I'll show you. And so this is the extension browser tools MCP. And it lets Cursor see the details of your browser, especially the error logs in the console. So instead of having to copy and paste the error logs from the console into Cursor, you can just tell Cursor, hey, look at the console error logs in my browser, and it will do that. And then I have one for GitHub as well. Cursor has a limit on how many MCPs you can have enabled at one time, and so I have temporarily disabled this one. And so how do you install MCPs? Well, before that, where do you get the MCP? So you can go to cursor.directory. There's other places too, but this is one of the most reliable places I've found. So one of the other options is llama.ai MCP servers, right? And then there's 1 or 2 other ones that have significant number of MCP servers, but this is for Cursor, this has been more reliable. So you go to cursor.directory and then click on MCPs, and then here you can find MCPs. So if you're using Figma, you can have it connected to your Figma account and see your designs. You can have it connected to Slack. And so we'll just randomly pick one. So we'll do Docker, and so we'll connect to the Docker MCP server. These instructions here are pretty useless, but you go here, and then because we have the MCP server installed already, now we can just tell it install Docker MCP server, and then we give it this context, and then it should do it for us. So let's see what it does. While it's doing its thing, so I'm going to temporarily enable this, and then I'll validate this right after. What I've done when I integrated it with GitHub is I gave it read-only access to my account, and so that Cursor doesn't accidentally change things in my GitHub account and in my repos that I'm not expecting, but it can still see my repos and potentially do useful stuff with them. And so the reason I temporarily disabled it is because there's a limit to how many tools you can have running. And so I've temporarily disabled GitHub because at the time of recording, April 2025, Cursor only allows you to have 40 tools running. So this one has like, and GitHub had like 25. So we're running into an issue. And so this is like common that keep running into with Cursor. So there might be another plugin. Let's see if there's another one. Docker MCP that might work. There you go. Okay, try this one. So this is another kind of problem that you would commonly run into. Many of these MCPs are not reliable. So this Docker MCP server. So maybe this one will work. Okay, here we go. Green is good. Oh no, it did something that we don't want it to do. It removed my browser tools. So let's see if we can undo that part only, because I don't want it to. Okay, I'll do that afterwards. But now that this Docker MCP is installed, I should be able to run a command like give a prompt like Docker containers are running. And so now the difference will be, before Cursor could do this, right? It would go into your command prompt and that information for you. But now what it's doing is different, is that it's using the MCP tool that we have just installed, Docker MCP. And it's using a particular that's available within that MCP to give you the right info. Deleting my browser tools as well as web search. I'm gonna just put that back in because that I can see right here. And it didn't delete the GitHub. So I'm not sure why I deleted those two. But I'm going to copy this back to here and then format JSON. All right, now we're happy again. So now all our tools are green again, except the GitHub one, which I deliberately disabled, and I'll have to restart to enable it. But now your other tools there, my MCP installer is there, the web search is there. Right now, all the MCPs are green, but it's giving me a warning that I have too many tools in use. And again, this is the reason that I had disabled the GitHub one because I'm not going to use that very often. All right, that's it for now. Thank you.